All right.
Great.
Well, we've got a good amount of people joining us here today, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us and welcome to our webinar. If you're here, then I'm sure you've heard the good news that AvaSure has acquired Smart Room Solutions from Ouva, who is one of our trusted partners. My name is Nicole Douglas, and I'm a product marketing manager here at AvaSure, and I'm excited to kick off our session today. So AI is a huge topic out in the world right now, and healthcare is absolutely buzzing with the potential that it has to reduce staff workload and improve patient outcomes, whether that's from reducing falls or taking on administrative tasks and everything in between. Our customers have been asking for AI, and rightfully so. There's questions about the actual applications of the technology. And while there's a lot of promise about what AI can deliver, um, we see it as our responsibility as a solution provider to make sure that AI is meaningfully, thoughtfully, and carefully implemented in clinical settings. So we're investing in our platform to make sure that AI is helping to reduce the burden on bedside teams while also meeting those very high standards that are required in clinical care. And that's what you're going to hear about today. Next slide, please. So in this session, you're going to hear from two of our leaders who will be sharing insights into this exciting acquisition. You're going to hear what it means for AvaSure's intelligent platform and for our customers. Before we dive into the discussion, just a quick reminder that everybody attending is in listen-only mode. However, you can participate by submitting questions in the Q&A panel in GoToWebinar. We will get to questions at the end and answer as many as we can in our time there. Next slide, please. So to begin, I'd like to introduce Toby Eadelman. He is AvaSure's Chief Technology Officer. And Toby has over 10 years of experience leading the technical strategy here at AvaSure and led the innovation program that pioneered the first telesitter device, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Before AvaSure, he worked in the automotive industry, and he's noteworthy for his contributions to developing the first hands-free automotive system. So really what that means is if you love having Bluetooth in your car, Toby's the guy you can thank. Next up, we've got Jacob Hansen. He is the Chief Product Officer here at AvaSure, and he has very deep background in product management. Most recently, he joins us from Calix and Hillrom. So Jacob's background spans various healthcare disciplines, including clinical workflow, patient throughput, care communications, population health services. And really what that does is makes him the ideal person to help lead our strategy at that intersection of virtual care. So Jacob, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here, and I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about the acquisition.
Thank you, Nicole, and glad to be here chatting about something that we are really excited to be announcing. It's the result of a lot of hard work and interaction with an important partner. Wanted to start with a chance to in a sense, reintroduce AvaSure. I know many of you on this webinar probably know AvaSure quite well. And we also say that the longer you've known AvaSure, the more important it is to get reacquainted. AvaSure continues to build on our proven track record with a focus on clinical outcomes, dedication to supporting caregivers in protecting patients, and we've done so with a market-leading footprint. That said, we've also made significant investments in innovation and in growing with the changing needs and challenges of our customers as we've moved forward. So this is an exciting chance for us to get reintroduced on the heels of some important changes in our platform. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. So as Nicole said, we're thrilled to announce this important acquisition of the Smart Room Solutions from Ouva. As you can see in this visual, for our intelligent virtual care platform, artificial intelligence is one of the core enabling tech components that we have been deeply committed to and focused on. We first introduced artificial intelligence into our platform mid last year. And initially, we started with a focus on augmentation of virtual safety attendants and observers in safety-related things, falls and elopement in particular. And we started with that focus because it aligns so well from a value proposition standpoint to some of our existing solutions. And we remain really excited to work with our customers on deploying those things. And while we kept that focus, we also heard loud and clear from our customer base and from the market how critical it is to layer as many use cases as possible on top of virtual care infrastructure. And for any vendor partner that's going to work with health systems on deploying virtual care technology in hospital rooms, that means that kind of flexibility is a mandatory. It's a requirement. And you can actually see on this visual, in addition to the technology enablers around the middle, with our focus on the care team and the work that they do with the patient, that there's also a list of examples of use cases on the sides here. And over on the right, you can actually see at the bottom there, it says ambient workflow and quality monitoring. That just highlights the fact that we have been working on and looking into adding to our AI portfolio for quite some time. And for that reason, this acquisition has proved to be an absolutely fantastic fit, both for AvaSure and for Ouva. A big part of that is a number of ways in which we share a philosophy, a view of the world. For us, that means, one, we've always had a deep commitment to clinical outcomes. We are 15% clinicians in our employee base. And part of that means that we always wanted to be very clear about the difference between how we augment caregivers, humans in the loop, so to speak, versus ways that it's acceptable to automate without negatively impacting the work, the human element of virtual care. And Ouva has always shared that same philosophy. We've really appreciated them as partners because of that shared view of the world. In addition, we've also got a shared vision of architecture and technology, and the way that architecture should be planned for and designed to support scale and continued innovation in the artificial intelligence space, particularly with computer vision in this case. So because of this shared vision, it was really a perfect situation for us as a business to acquire not just the AI models themselves that Toby's going to talk about more extensively, but also the development team that worked to create those, knowing and being able to trust that the models and the team will fit in perfectly with the culture that we have here. And then also wanted to highlight, as you can see here, there is a lot of work going into all of these different areas, whether it's cloud, integrations, third-party access to our platform, analytics, hardware, and then as we're talking about here, various forms of AI. This acquisition just accelerates our strategic vision. It helps us take a meaningful step forward in the market landscape and innovation. And this is just us really moving forward in earnest on things that were already important goals to us. And then I also want to highlight the fact that it doesn't stop here. We don't see this as, well, we've completed this important work, we're going to migrate these things in, and now we've arrived at some destination. Rather, this is one additional element of the innovation that we're pursuing. AvaSure is continuing to invest deeply, both in our internal teams and organic investments in our technology platform, while also continuing to work hard on partnerships and other elements of growing our platform as well. So you will continue to see quarter by quarter releases, innovation across the various applications, artificial intelligence applications or analytics and the other components of our platform. We're super excited about all of that, and just grateful that we've gotten to this spot with the team from Ouva. So with that, I'm going to leave it to Toby to get into some of the details of exactly what we've acquired. So Toby, over to you.
Thanks, Jacob. Yes, we are very excited about this acquisition. We've had a lot of opportunities to work together with Ouva, as Jacob mentioned, over the past couple of years. And we're a great fit technology-wise as well as people-wise. And so this acquisition, as Jacob mentioned, has almost doubled the size of our AI team, increasing the capacity of not only what we've gained from this, but also of how fast we can roll out new models and features for the future. So to start with, I want to remind everyone about our fall prevention and elopement prevention AIs, which are already available. And so those many of you have already heard about and you're aware of, and that is available today. And so if you look at it from the perspective of this has been more like augmenting the safety monitors, and that's where we have been focusing our AI up until this point. With the addition of Ouva, we move into a different area of ambient monitoring. And so with ambient monitoring, it now is moving from augmentation towards automation. And so next slide, please. The additional features that we will be adding are bed management, staff rounding, patient flow, and patient mobility. Now, a difference here is that these are not things that will be monitored by the safety monitor, but rather this is data that will be accumulated and will be provided to the hospital staff to use appropriately. So before I get into any of that in any more detail, at this point, I'd like to give you all a sneak peek at what this may look like. There you go. So you've gotten to see a little bit of what it looks like and what the features are that were being added and how we can use them. The first of these features that I would like to talk about in a little more detail is our mobility tracking. So this one leads a little more towards the clinical side in that we all know that as the patients become more mobile and more independent, that moves them closer to us being able to recognize that they're ready for discharge. So effectively what we're going to be doing is monitoring, not with a patient monitor, just with the AI only. We'll be monitoring how much time the patient is spending in bed, in chair, and standing and walking around. By doing this, we'll be able to provide a timeline to our customers that will allow them to be able to see how their patients are doing and how they're progressing in their recovery and getting towards being prepared for discharge. So that's the first of the clinical cases. Now, our second area, which consists of several features, is more operations related. And again, I want to just reiterate that this is automation, not augmentation in this case. And so in this, for these features, we're moving more towards the smart room management. These features will address things such as staff rounding. So not necessarily just nurse rounding, but also other types of staff, how often people are meeting with the patient and providing interactions. We'll also be tracking patient flow and bed management, such as the admissions and discharges and transfers, being able to confirm when a bed is actually empty, when the bed has been filled, being able to provide information about when the patient is being transferred, or even when they're moving to one appointment or another. And so those are all opportunities that we're looking to address with our smart room management. So this is just the beginning. We have a lot of other AI models planned that will be coming out as well after this. But just to reiterate, the first two are the falls prevention and elopement prevention. Both of those features are available today. So if those are interesting to you, please reach out to your account executive to get more information about those. And then these other features that we've acquired through the Ouva acquisition will be reaching the market at the end of this year. And so please look forward to those, and we will continue to provide more information as these roll out and are integrated into the AvaSure systems. And at that point, Nicole, would you like to take it from here?
Sure can. Thank you both. All right. So before we move over into Q&A, just last call for questions. So go ahead and enter those into the chat. And while you submit those questions, I wanted to make sure that you've got an upcoming event on your radar. So we've got our 8th annual customer symposium coming up this October in Grand Rapids. This is going to be an excellent event where you can network with other AvaSure users, learn how you can best use the platform, and discuss big topics like virtual nursing, virtual care, and AI. We love hosting our customers and showing you all a good time. So don't miss out on this event. You can register using that QR code there. Registration is now live, so we're looking forward to seeing you in Grand Rapids in the fall. All right, for Q&A, we've got... Go ahead.
Can I just add something to relative to the symposium? We love this event in many ways, but one of the added reasons, in addition to everything Nicole just said, is tied to just the number of super users that are there and the open collaborative discussion that happens. It gives us a great chance to have another venue where we can really listen to how our applications and products are being used, to get feedback. And so if you're interested in having another opportunity to help shape features that get on the roadmap here at AvaSure, this is a great chance to influence and provide feedback into how we innovate and grow our platform going forward. So just wanted to put a shout out. I know it's selfish, but you know how I roll, Nicole. I'm always looking for ways to get what I need out of things. So wanted to add that to what you said.
Absolutely. Customer feedback is where it's at. Okay, so we've got a few questions here in the chat. So just first and foremost, just wanted to reiterate just timing for the solution. So first of all, we do have Falls and Elopement AI currently available today. We also have some pilot options available as well if you're interested in taking advantage there. So reach out to your account executive to learn more. If you're unsure who that is, you can reach out to info@avasure.com and we'll make sure you're taken care of. So Jacob, this first question here is for you. So how will this acquisition affect my current contract or pricing? Will there be any changes to our support structure or our pricing structure?
Good question. So short answer is it won't change your current contracts. The AI models themselves that we have in our platform, for those that we include as part of our portfolio rather than through partners, those are all included in our platform. So there's no added cost to our customers, so long as it obviously depends on the current licensing level that you're using, but as long as your current contract includes all the elements of the platform, then artificial intelligence models would be included in that. There would be no change. And I just want to put in a plug as well to what Nicole said about pilots. We are really excited to work with customers on AI pilots, and there will be a number of advantageous elements to participating in pilots like that. So please do reach out and let us know how we can work with you on those.
Thank you. Toby, this next question I'm going to put to you. So could you talk a little bit more about how accuracy of AI is evaluated?
That's a good question. It's a tricky area, actually. because a lot of people all measure it very differently. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we measure it. The way we measure it is we measure essentially false positives versus true positives, and false negatives versus true negatives, and then we take a comparison of that. We then take data or images and video that we've never trained against, and we run it through the system to get accuracy. Now, the problem with it is that it gives us a good number, but it's not a great number for being able to compare to, other things. Now, we know where our targets are for that, but I really would recommend that we have this discussion on a case-by-case basis, because these results vary depending on which mix of cameras that you have in your hospital, as well as what your rooms are oriented as, and how we can work together to really optimize those numbers.
Thank
So
you.
I'd really encourage you to, reach out to your account executives, and we'll schedule some time, and we'll sit down and go through your specific situation, and we can provide you some information around that.
Sounds good. Yeah, accuracy is definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach there.
Right.
Okay, Toby, I'm going to stay with you actually. Could you talk a bit more about what infrastructure is required to support AI? Does data cross into the AvaSure hosted infrastructure from a cloud perspective? And is that communication encrypted? I think all of those are in the same kind of realm of security.
Absolutely. So AvaSure's AI is a hybrid, but so that means that some of it's at the edge, some of it's on the servers on-prem if you have on-prem servers, and some of it is in the cloud. So the cloud is an AvaSure hosted cloud, and that's where all of these models reside. Some of the future models will be split up between the edge and on-prem server, but all of these ones are in the AvaSure hosted cloud. Now, the advantage of the AvaSure hosted cloud is that we're able to scale, number one, and number two, the more of our customers that take advantage of the AI will gain advantages of that the data being used to improve the models across the entire customer base, which we have more than 1,100 customers now. So the more that we move to AI, the more that we're able to help our entire customer base be able to get even better AI performance as the system continues to learn. So all that to say, the way it works today in this first iteration is that we do request a VPN between the host and the cloud in order to be able to pass all of the video. And the reason for that is because our earlier products use RTSP video, and so that way we can make sure that that video is secure. Now, if you have our newer hardware, that actually is capable of using WebRTC. That will be coming out by the end of this year for support for AI. And that WebRTC is encrypted as well. And it will not require a VPN. And that will be able to be passed up to the AI as well. And all of the video and audio is protected. None of it is saved unless we are working on a study with any of our specific customers, in which case that would be a specific separate discussion. Otherwise, none of the video is saved in its original state. And so that is how it is set up. Did I miss any parts of that question, Nicole? I think I got them all.
I think you hit them all.
I want to add one thing to what Toby said. This is another area where we are really lucky to have such great partners. For anybody that we've talked to about AI thus far with our falls and elopement models, those have been deployed, as Toby was just highlighting, in a centrally hosted cloud model. And we've done so with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and had great partnership with them. They've been very supportive in making sure that as we've deployed in that way, that it brings all the best in class tools relative to security and the way that we host those. And so as we add these models from Ouva, they will be added to that same centrally hosted infrastructure in the work that we're doing with OCI. And we've already had discussions with that team, and we'll be working hard on bringing those into one centrally located space where we can take full advantage of all of the different models and also extract as much learning as possible. So
great. Thank you both. Got a few more here. So next up, Jacob, I'm going to stay with you. Could you talk about how soon AI will be standard within the telesitter applications and the episodic applications?
Yeah, sure. So the falls and elopement augmentation computer vision models are generally available today. And I'll put in one more plug about just more and more opportunities for pilots with our customers. We're excited to move forward with those right now. The new models will be migrated in over the next development cycle, which for us is our Q4 development cycle that actually starts on Monday. So we have a quarterly release cadence. We want to be as predictable as possible for our customers and for the market. So we'll continue to move forward in that way, and we intend to have that migration complete and be ready to work with customers on these new models as part of that work in our Q4 work.
And while we're on the topic, could you talk a bit about the workflow for falls and elopement AI? So what the virtual safety attendant will be experiencing and how that's going to help to reduce their burden and also prevent activities before they happen?
Yeah, that's a good point. So when we talk about augmentation in that way, we're really talking about a tiered set of notifications that present with visual indicators on the telesitter user interface. So if you can picture, just like we've actually got here on this webinar, we've got various video streams showing if a virtual safety attendant's watching 12 to 16 patients, and they've got that grid there. If a patient, let's take the falls example, if a patient is sitting up and moving their legs over the side of the bed, they would get a first tier or a warning level indication, an orange box around that video stream and some text saying falls risk that would appear. And it would basically just draw that safety attendant's eye to that particular video stream. And then let's say that patient continues with their efforts to get up and they bend at the waist, their feet touch the floor. As soon as that happens, then the AI that's watching that video stream will now move that from a warning level indication to a more urgent notification with a red box and a patient out of bed text that would be presented. All of that to support the safety attendant. In these early days of AI, we're not at first automatically sounding a stat alarm. We don't want to overburden bedside team members with more stat alarms. We really want to make sure that the control of the stat alarm stays with the safety attendant. Over time, that may change. We're also excited about the fact that we are now working on expanding ratios. So with one of the benefits that AI brings is the ability for safety attendants to watch more patients. Nobody in the market actually knows what that limit is. What's the cognitive burden a single safety attendant can really carry while watching falls risk patients or elopement risk patients, depending on acuity and a variety of other factors. But we do know that there may be an expanded, we expect that there will be an expansion of those. So our newest version that we are currently working on in our roadmap will include an expanded set of possibilities for how many patients a safety attendant can watch when augmented by artificial intelligence.
Great, thank you. I'm going to stick with you again because I got a question that could be fun here. So someone had asked, have you considered allowing the AI to communicate with the patient? So for example, let's say the AI is sensing a movement, the patient getting up, start swinging their legs over, or moving out of what's considered like the safe zone. Have we considered having the AI say like, hey, stop, don't get up, anything like that?
Yeah, great question. And 100% yes. In fact, for those who know our solution, some of the important features in our telesitter application are canned interventions and the ability to create those canned interventions in 40 plus, I believe, different languages. So So the ability for AI to, all of the notifications that come from AI are actually going from AI as it sits in the cloud with OCI, and those are coming back to the AvaSure enterprise, the platform itself. So we have the flexibility to do whatever we want with that message. So like I mentioned, one of the things that we're considering is if the patient stands up, do we just automatically sound the stat alarm? Well, that's something that we're going to investigate. In the same vein, another option would be if the patient puts their legs over the side of the bed, but have not, feet haven't hit the floor, we could also initiate a, hey, so-and-so, please stay in bed. I'll signal to your nurse that you need some assistance, right? Using some of those canned interventions in an automated way in support of a safety attendant who might have their attention on another patient, an elopement patient that's busy doing something else.
Great, thank you. Toby, I'm going to go over to you. So could you talk a bit more about the hardware requirements for AI, especially customers wondering, if what they have today is going to be useful with their AI tooling?
Great question. Yes, absolutely. What you have today will work with our AI. That's one of the reasons why we put it in the cloud, is that we're able to take in the video from all kinds of different devices. It's not limited to any one specific device at the edge. And the other advantage of it is if you have your AI at the edge, eventually as you add more classifiers, you're going to run out of processing power. By having it in the cloud, we're able to scale that up as needed to add additional classifiers, and also to scale horizontally as well as our customer base grows. And so it provides a lot more future proofing by doing it this way. But to answer your question, yes, it does work with all of our current products that are on the market, as well as pretty much everything that we've sold can be used for this. A couple of just reminders about what I said earlier was it does require a VPN if it's some of the earlier hardware. And so keep that in mind, although that's not a showstopper. And then the other side of that to keep in mind also is when you use devices that have the PTZ capability, if it's being used for multiple things, which our software platforms are able to be used for things such as, telesitting and, our episodic communication for virtual nursing, as well as, the AI. If you are using the same hardware for that and it happens to be zoomed in, it will be limited to whatever the view is of the current application and the way it's being used. And so that's where we are. We do have some future platforms coming out that if you're interested in hearing about them and how we're further optimizing for both AI and virtual nursing, I would also recommend that you reach out to your account executive and we'll set up some times to talk a little bit more about our roadmap.
Thanks, Toby. Yeah, just to hit on that, if there are any prerequisites such as a VPN connection, that's what our team can help with, just making sure that you're up on the latest and greatest prior to taking on any of these enhancements. Okay, next question. I think, Jacob, this will go to you as well. Could you talk about, from a roadmap perspective, is anything like staff duress with ambient monitoring on the list?
Yeah, good question, man. This is all the exciting stuff. We are very, very excited about. So in addition to computer vision, everything we've been talking about today is computer vision related. But as we talk about with all of our customers when we're talking about AI, that's a part of the reason AI became such a loaded term. Is AI can mean a lot of things, right? It can mean computer vision, it can mean ambient listening, it can mean machine learning, Gen AI, natural language processing. So we are going to be introducing some ambient listening related AI models. We're targeting early in 2025. And the first two will focus one on an episodic setting with virtual nurse summons, basically the ability to speak through the microphone and request a call to a virtual nurse. And then the other is one that would apply regardless of whether we're doing sitting or episodic, if a device is in the room, the ability to say something like, hey, Ava, staff emergency, or hey, Ava, security, or something like that to signal a staff duress call. So yes to those. I will add, we're also actively talking to best-in-class partners in the market. One of the things that we've not invested our own efforts in is in building an AvaSure large language model. There's a lot of complexity in that, and there's great organizations out there who've been working on that for years. And we are working with several potential partners on ambient listening for things like an AI assistant or like a digital scribe for nursing documentation. And those things will be things that we work through a partner to bring to the market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another question, I think, Toby, this will go in your direction. Can you talk through how AI can differentiate between a patient attempting to get up and perhaps a visitor walking around the room?
Good question. Again, lots of good questions today. So we have a few different ways that we do monitor for those things. Specifically, it becomes, more of a challenge when you are trying to keep track of the patient separate from the visitors. And this is an area that we're continuously improving upon all the time. And so the easiest starting point is, obviously, if there's only one person in the room, you can feel fairly confident if they're in the bed, that's the patient. When there's multiple people in the room and one of them is in the bed and somebody is not, then you can differentiate that the one in the bed is most likely the patient. The trickier part is when the patient gets up and is moving around the room and the visitor is also moving around the room. And in that situation, we actually have some, it's kind of like a on-the-spot training method that we use, in which we are taking advantage of a certain amount of frames that we'd already recognized when the patient was alone in the room to identify who the patient is, and to be able to use that to be able to try to keep focus on the patient versus the visitor. So we use that. There's also been some research that we have taken advantage of that we've done in relation to patient gowns. It's a limited area, though, because of the fact that not all patients are wearing gowns, and so that is an area where we continually work to make improvements on, and the whole industry honestly works to make improvements on being able to find good ways to be able to do this. And so I would encourage, again, let's have some talks about it. We would love to be able to discuss your specific situations and how we can work together to identify the patients.
Thank you. I think this is our last question we have here. Jacob, I'm going to put this towards you. Could you talk about the duration of a pilot program? So it seems like there's a lot of questions around how the pilot program works, how long it takes to get stood up to get the AI live in our customers' environments.
Yeah, there's probably a few parameters that would impact that, but in short, 3 to 6 months. Okay. Depends on how many different things we're piloting and in how many different areas and units, but that's probably the easy answer to that one.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that is everything we've got for you all today. So Jacob and Toby, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, thank you for joining us here. We are so excited to share this good news with you and excited to partner with our customers to pioneer new use cases for AI. So you will be receiving a recording to this webinar and a survey after this discussion as well to give us some feedback. So thank you all. If we didn't get to your questions, we will have someone follow up with you directly here. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.